let's go to the issue of immigration. House Bill 20 by Matt Schaefer was filed. This was probably the best immigration bill of the session. This was going to establish the Border Protection Unit. I don't remember the exact name of it, but essentially establish a border force which was going to actually go down and challenge the unconstitutional rulings that the federal courts have made in the past and say when we are being invaded, and it had an invasion declaration in the bill, a finding that we are being invaded, we are allowed to take people who we witness crossing into Texas from Mexico and return them to the other side of the border. We are going to return them to Mexico because the federal government has completely abdicated its responsibility. And Dade Phelan got all cute and said, hey, this is a priority of mine. Now, if it was a priority of Dade Phelan's, shouldn't it move? Shouldn't it go? Shouldn't it actually move through the process quickly? No. It's actually the Democrat bills that were a priority of his that moved really quickly. So he wanted to expand Medicaid and other things like that. And those bills just flew. But not this. The best, literally everybody's looking at Dade Phelan's priorities and they're like, his best priorities is House Bill 20. I kept telling people the one issue that the House looks to be to the right of the Senate on is on the issue of immigration. Because House Bill 20 is a great bill. And if it had passed the Texas House and gone to the Senate, we would all be coming to you right now saying, hey, the House actually did a good job trying to protect the border and the Senate didn't. But here's the problem. House Bill 20 never made it out of the House. The Speaker's priority never made it out of the House. How did that happen? Well, see, it kind of got delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And then the Calendars Committee is like, let's put this on one of the last calendars. And then the Democrats are like, hey, we got this point of order. And the parliamentarian who the Speaker hires and fires and is a Democrat says, hey, I don't think this bill can continue to move forward. And he tells Dade Phelan, I think you should rule in favor of the Democrats' point of order. Now, the parliamentarian doesn't point of order bills. Democrats don't point of order bills. The only person who can call a point of order, who can rule in favor of a point of order, because a Democrat can call one, but who can rule in favor of a point of order and kill a bill is Dade Phelan. And see, the House leadership had to work together to make sure that this bill was super late in the process so that when Dade Phelan said, I rule in favor of this point of order and it has to go back to committee, it can't get out of committee and go to calendars and get put back on the calendar in time. The Texas House of Representatives killed this bill. And if you were going to say which one person's most responsible, it would be Dade Phelan. But he needed the help of Todd Hunter and Dustin Burrows to do it. Senate Concurrent Resolution 23 by Lois Kolkhorst was a border invasion declaration. This is such an easy bill to pass. It's a resolution. It says we're being invaded. It's a legislative finding. It's the Texas legislature saying we are being invaded, which gives us certain authority under the Constitution. Let's at least have the Senate and the House say we're being invaded. It doesn't actually secure the border. It just says we're being invaded, which now puts even more pressure on the governor to actually secure the border. SCR 23 passes the Senate, goes to State Affairs, never receives a hearing. So hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people are just pouring across the border. The House is like, oh, we don't even have time to listen to that bill. State Affairs Committee, Todd Hunter, kills the bill. HB 3280 by Terry Leo Wilson is an in-state tuition ban. Very simple. We have taxpayer benefits for illegals in the state of Texas. They're taxpayer benefits that were established by the Texas legislature. We're not required by the federal government to give illegals taxpayer money. We came up with this program on our own. We established it. And the Republican Party of Texas has opposed these programs ever since they've been created. House Bill 3280 gets filed by Terry Leo Wilson, says we're going to stop giving in-state tuition to illegals. And this is the way in-state tuition works. For those of you who don't know, this illegal immigrant applies to Texas A&M, gets into Texas A&M, and then we write a check to Texas A&M to say, hey, charge that individual who is here illegally less for their tuition. Less than you would charge an American citizen from Oklahoma. Less than you would charge an American citizen from Louisiana. If they're coming to A&M, they pay full freight, but that individual who is illegally here in the country, we're going to make sure that they pay less for their college. That bill never received a hearing in the House of Representatives. They could have started hearing legislation in March, all May, all April. Nope. John Kemple, Higher Education Committee, killed the bill. Senate Bill 2424 by Brian Birdwell was a border crossing crime. It made it a crime to cross the southern border. To walk across from Mexico to Texas, that is a crime. Senate Bill 2424 by Brian Birdwell. Came up. Dade Phelan worked with the Democrats, killed it on a point of order. Again, everyone had to play their role to delay it as long as possible so that when the Democrats called the point of order on the bill and Dade Phelan goes, yep, ruling in favor, just killed the bill. Also remember, 10 members of the legislature, HB 20 or SB 2424, all it would have taken was 10 members of the legislature to say, we're challenging the ruling of the chair, and we would have had a record vote and had potential to have 76 legislators vote to say, hey, we're going to make it a state crime to cross the border and give everybody even more tools to start securing our border, which is not secure at all right now. 10 members didn't want to do it. Dade Phelan killed the bill. HB 3486 by Steve Toth was an E-Verify bill. Now, I will say on this bill, the Senate and the House both killed E-Verify. It didn't pass either chamber, okay? Very simple. It just says we've got millions of illegals coming in. Employers need to start using E-Verify because we need to know if the people you're hiring are the citizens of this state, because we actually, as a state, as a government, are supposed to protect our citizens. Our responsibility and obligation is to the citizens. Florida actually passed some great E-Verify legislation. Now, what the Senate did, we got to give them some credit. They had a hearing on the bill. They moved the bill. They got it out of their committee. Ultimately, we never got enough senators to sign on to the bill, to commit to the bill, to get it actually out of the Senate. But at least if you want E-Verify and you're like, where are my problems? You need both chambers to get on board. But based on the current trajectory, even if we do get it out of the Senate, the Texas House won't even hear the bill. The State Affairs Committee killed it. HB 4743. Tony Tinderholt, tax remissions to foreign countries. Very simple. Let me explain how this works. And the legislature knows this. These guys aren't dumb guys. When individuals cross the border, they owe cartels tens of thousands of dollars. The reason cartels are trafficking humans at an alarming rate, millions of people, is because they're making money on the drugs and the people coming across. And if you cross that border, like for all you know, the cartels, if you don't pay them and you don't finish the payments, some brother's going to lose a finger or something. So you owe them a lot of money. So first you got to go get an American job. And you can't get an American job if there's E-Verify, but you know what? The Texas legislature killed E-Verify, so you can go get an American job. And our court system will say, oh, well, you're here legally, and it's not a crime to cross the border in the state, so we can't even come after you there. And we killed Matt Schaefer's HB 20, so we're not having a border unit there to put you back into Mexico. So then you get an American job. And then you owe these cartels a lot of money. So when you get your paycheck from your American job, you send back a good portion of that to Mexico. And it goes to the cartels. A lot of it. And so this was going to say, hey, we're going to start financially penalizing this whole system that is literally designed. We have favored our laws for the cartels. So Tony Tinderholt filed a bill that said, hey, we're going to tax the snot out of those remissions. When you go to send out money to the cartel, guess what? Uncle Sam's going to take some of that money. And I don't care if you don't like it. Because the person sending it, many cases, is not even in the country legally, and they're sending it to some cartel member. So we could take 15, 20% of that and pay down your property taxes. But no, it went to the Ways and Means Committee. Chairman Morgan Meyer killed it, never even gave the bill a hearing. Did you see what I just explained to you about House Bill 4743? Doesn't that sound like a bill that the Texas House would be like, we should at least consider this bill? Never even gave it a hearing. Morgan Meyer killed that bill.